Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I want to talk to you about a couple of subjects today, but primarily I'm going to be talking about what happened in Gaza today. So the intensity of the battles between the Palestinian resistance and Israeli offense forces is picking up and is getting more and more intense. But there are a couple of things that are very, very interesting. Israel has been talking about Rafah. They're focusing on the south. According to them, they dismantled all of the brigades, apart from 4 that are remaining in Rafah. Remember that very well so we can put everything into context. However, today, the vast majority of the battles, most of which were recorded, were in the northern part of Gaza. So in Khan Yunis, and when I speak about Khan Yunis, I'm talking about the outskirts of Khan Yunis, like the western part of Khan Yunis, because again, Israel is not established in these areas that they target because of the fierce resistance. This has multiple meanings. Number one, the Palestinian resistance is monitoring things on the ground. So Israel is claiming that they're all hiding in the tunnels, but for the resistance to attack Israeli forces outside the city or refugee camp or whichever area they want to go into, they need to be monitoring them very well and they need to have good intelligence, which is the case. The second thing it means is something we spoke about previously. They have freedom of movement. Again, we're seeing a lot of fighting, a lot of attacks being carried out over the ground from buildings on Israeli forces in Gaza. With regards to Khan Yunis, Al-Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, they attacked Israeli forces to the western part of the city. Tanks with Yasin 105, the Palestinian-made Yasin 105 RPG that Al-Qassam brigades produce and manufacture. That's in Khan Yunis. Other activity was there from other parts, from other resistance groups in Khan Yunis. However, the majority of the attacks on Israeli forces today were in Al-Nusayrat refugee camp, Gaza City, Hayy al-Zaytun, Zaytun neighborhood, and Jabalia. All of these areas are in the northern part of Gaza. And don't forget, Israel's been telling us all of this time that they dismantled everything. And then now they're going back to, they want to go down to Rafah. Apparently, Benjamin Netanyahu said we dismantled 20 out of 24. Gallant said 18 out of 24. And at one point, Netanyahu said we dismantled everything. You dismantled all of the brigades and you still have all of that activity. Imagine that. The interesting thing about the battles all across of the northern part of Gaza is the fact that we're seeing the smaller resistance groups picking up the pace. So for example, Katab al-Shahid Abu Ali Mustafa brigades, the armed wing of the PFLP, which is a leftist organization, they attacked 8 soldier carriers for the IDF. That's only Kataib Abu Ali Mustafa. PIJ's Saray al-Quds brigades, they had joint activity with a group called Alwiyat al-Nasr Salah ad-Din brigades. This group is a resistance group that's been in Gaza for a very long time, but now they're increasing their fighting. Similarly, with the other group that's called Katab al-Mujahideen that publishes videos regularly. Both of them and the Saray al-Quds of the PIJ, they attacked Israeli forces with heavy mortars. All of this activity is also sending many messages here. Number one, you haven't dismantled the resistance, and it's not just talk, we have evidence, okay? And bear in mind, Abu Ubaidah, the spokesperson of Al-Qassam Brigade, said they don't publish everything due to security reasons and complications on the ground. Yet despite all of that, despite heavy Israeli presence in these areas all around them, they're videoing all of these things, whether it's sniper attacks, whether it's RPG attacks, whether it's mortar shells or side bombs. Al-Qassam brigades also used Shuwaz bombs that they also make against multiple Israeli machinery. Freedom of movement for the Palestinian resistance, exceptionally good intelligence and knowledge about where the Israeli forces are in Gaza. And clearly, these people are still very effective, very well equipped, and their work is coordinated. All of the brigades fighting Israel in Gaza have extremely high levels of coordination. So it's not just every group fighting randomly. And from the videos that they also publish, we can see that there is something joint and very similar in the types of videos that they publish, signaling that there is a joint group of people also working on these things to publish them to the outside world when it comes to the battles in Gaza. So clearly, again, proof after proof, evidence after evidence that the Palestinian resistance is still very strong in Gaza. They're running the show, attacking Israel, attacking supply lines of Israel. In many cases, many kilometers away, they target them, coming to support Israeli soldiers, and they sometimes even target helicopters or forces coming and trying to evacuate wounded Israeli soldiers. That's when it comes to Gaza. So far they have the Rafah campaign on hold. They attack, airstrikes obviously, killing innocent civilians, continuing their genocide. However, the Palestinian resistance still very strong, attacking Israel very, very heavily. The second thing that I want to talk about is Lebanon. So we've had these intense attacks in Lebanon from Israel, particularly in Saida. Very, very deep into Lebanese territory. You're talking about only 40 kilometers away from Beirut, sending multiple messages to Hizbullah and the Lebanese state. Remember that? Today, we've had massive barrages of missiles on the western part of the Galilee from Hizbullah. So the Iron Dome was working really, really heavily today. However, there were many landings, and Israel didn't specify exactly how many missiles were launched, but multiple reports said it was dozens. Hezbollah still hasn't declared how many missiles they launched in that attack. However, what they did declare is that they used the Burkan missile again on a couple of Israeli bases. The Burkan that has a warhead of between 300 to 500 kg. Is this a beginning of an intense retaliation from Hezbollah? Could well be, because we're having more talks in Israel about the state being prepared for a 60% shortage in electricity. Most of the northern part of Israel over Tel Aviv, to the north of Tel Aviv, potentially being shut down. We spoke about government bodies in Israel posting many warnings officially from state departments, warning people from very prolonged periods of shortages, asking people to pack food, tinned food, medicine, prepare for many days without water, without food supply, without electricity. Israel is preparing for that day, and clearly what they're doing with Lebanon is they're instigating them more and more and giving them, most importantly, an excuse to retaliate on Israel without receiving too much negative backlash from inside of Lebanon, because Hezbollah's retaliation against Israel post the 7th of October attacks was very much calculated because many people in Lebanon, they don't want war, obviously. Some people are waiting on every single small mistake that Hezbollah does, and they have responsibility for all of Lebanon in case Israel has a massive attack on Lebanon, and they're obviously able to do that. So from Hezbollah's perspective, they wanted to suck out as much energy as possible from the Israeli army, and it's clearly visible. You have many Iron Dome batteries. A third of the army is up north. Air Force personnel, you're talking about Division 36. We spoke about it being deployed on the borders of Lebanon. And now, with what Israel is doing in Lebanon, is they're giving Hezbollah an excuse to retaliate and take it a step up. That could also be an increased attack following the assassinations in Syria as well. So that's when it comes to what's happening on the ground in Gaza and in Lebanon. Things are not toning down politically in Israel. So Netanyahu's closest allies, they've been causing a lot of outrage in Israeli society, and many people in Israel do not like it. The recent statement that Bezalel Smotrich had made even the Israeli president very annoyed. So he said, Bezalel Smotrich, he's one of Netanyahu's closest allies, very far right, neo-Nazi mentality. This person called for the expulsion of the Palestinian citizens in Israel. He said that the prisoners, those who were kidnapped by Hamas in Gaza, are not the most important thing. This caused outrage with the families of those who were kidnapped by Hamas and have been in Gaza for over 4.5 months now. And this campaign is supposedly, this genocide, barbarism, not just campaign, is supposedly to get them back. Yet you have these people declaring outright that that's not their priority. So the Israeli president, Yitzhak Herzog, he had to go out and criticize this, say that what these people are going through is hell, is tragedy. We need to be sensitive towards their feelings. And the whole aim of this war is to get those people back. Yet despite all of that and this backlash from the Israeli society as well, Bezalel Smotrich didn't even back down from this statement. So he continued, careless of what anyone thinks. And that highlights the mentality of the people in power in Israel. And it's being translated on the ground ever since the beginning of this genocide campaign. Israel so far killed over 80 of its own prisoners in Gaza. Israelis said that, who were in Gaza and released, and also the Palestinian resistance. So these were the main things that I wanted to talk to you about. I have more to talk about in my live stream, so check my community tab for the live stream tonight and almost every night. And I will hopefully see you soon in the next video. Take care.